Speaking of people who not only can you not even trust, but you can't even trust them to know how to fill out an IQ test. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for Diane Abbott. Labour civil war boils over as Diane Abbott declares, "I will not be intimidated." That's her in the middle there. Now, for those of you who forgot, I had great relish a few years ago in a burger. No, I had great relish in covering the fact that Diane Abbott here is probably the most embarrassing figure in UK political history. She was seen in public wearing two left shoes. You think I'm joking? I'm sure someone will post the video in a minute. She made several critical, embarrassing blunders for setting policy on policing numbers, where she gave totally contradictory and mathematically impossible answers in like 3 separate interviews, and none of them were in line with what Jeremy Corbyn later confirmed the real numbers to be. She probably, yeah, there you go. She probably has an IQ not north of 90, and that may be generous. And she has only ever, to my knowledge, shown herself to be a very unpleasant person personally. She's also expressed a fondness for Mao. Yes, Chairman Mao. And the what was the last thing? Oh yes, it was revealed that the way she got her position, you would be thinking, even in a nation as damaged as the UK is from where it's supposed to be, how did she get into politics? Well, the answer is that she was Jeremy Corbyn's token hire. He apparently, this was from a book, so it might not be true, but it sounds plausible. He apparently, because they know each other, he apparently would show her around to all his friends and say, "Look, I have a black." And tell me, it sounds ridiculous, but is that not exactly what you'd expect from socialists in the modern day? So that's probably the reason why she's in the party. She'd never admit it, we'll never know, but a book revealed it. Yes, Vin, it is alleged that Jeremy Corbyn frequently engaged in copulation or fornication, fornication actually, with that. Yeah, Ginger says, 2 left shoes, 2 left non-matching shoes, not even vaguely similar shoes. She has as many shoes as she has brain cells, says Ginger. Yeah, well. The thing is that she's not just an MP. She was up to be Home Secretary, who is in charge of the police, the intelligence agencies, I think the border as well, and several other like major security things. She is not worthy to be the janitor in the House of Commons, let alone the Home Secretary. This, frankly, thankfully, was the proposed parliament, or the proposed cabinet, around the time that Labour suffered their worst electoral defeat in like 100 years. So the people spoke on Corbyn and on her, and they spoke correctly, but she's still somehow still in the party. Now, I feel like she may have fallen somewhat out of favor with Starmer, because Starmer is not Corbyn. I suspect she would not have anywhere near as high a cabinet posting if they won today, and she was still an MP by the end of it. But she's still in the party. She's still an MP. She might have a cabinet position if they won today. However, it does appear that there is some consternation over that, because she is, apparently, by some authorities in the party, not being allowed to run. I do wonder if this could be one of those, the beginning of a path to a brief, minute glimmer of light in amongst Labour's almost certainly hellish policies otherwise. But let's see. Labour's civil war boils over as Diane Abbott declares, "I will not be intimidated." So Keir Starmer is facing a growing revolt over the party's disastrous handling of veteran left-wing MP Diane Abbott. The civil war threatening to engulf Labour intensified as Diane Abbott vowed, "I will not let myself be intimidated." Sir Keir Starmer is facing a growing revolt over the party's disastrous handling of the veteran left-wing MP. The opposition leader was forced to deny Miss Abbott 70? No way she's 70. Jesus. has been barred from standing for Labour despite having the whip restored following a party probe. She was suspended last year for saying Jewish, Irish and traveller people do not face racism all their lives. Which is, it's a weird example of where they're both wrong. And Miss Abbott at a rally in Hackney said, "I will not let myself be intimidated. I'm going to be your MP." She added, "You have always stood with me in good times and bad, and I will always stand with you." Quote, "I remember when I first ran as a Labour MP all the way back in 1987, people thought I couldn't win. People thought you couldn't elect a black woman to parliament because it had never been done before. But local people went out to campaign, knocked on doors, etc., etc. Furious Labour politicians, union barons and left-wing campaign group Momentum heaped pressure on Sir Keir, declaring she must be allowed to stand for the party." Momentum, by the way, were essentially Corbyn's hit squad back in the day. Yeah. She's obviously from the worst places, Motch. In fact, I suspect that it may be a majority brown region. Hackney's in London, so it probably is a majority brown region.
Yeah. The only one that would have surprised me less if it had been Tower Hamlets or like Newham or something.
I wonder who's the one for there. Possibly someone even worse.
Mm.
But yeah, she's in a safe Labour seat because, of course, Browns. The Lady Labour came under fire over the investigation into the Hackney North MP. The Tories demanded to know why the Labour leader just days ago said the probe was still ongoing when it was concluded in December. And Sir Keir must answer whether he or his team knew Ms Abbott had been given a formal warning before they were sent onto the media with deliberately false lines, or have they also been lied to, Conservative MPs said. Conservative Party Chairman Richard Holden said in a letter to Sir Keir, "On 24th May 2024, you claimed that the Labour Party's investigation into Diane Abbott was yet to be concluded. In March, you said the investigation into Diane Abbott needs to be resolved in 3 separate interviews. However, it's been reported that the Labour Party concluded its investigation in December 2023, 6 months before you claimed it was ongoing, and Labour's National Executive Committee issued a formal warning in February, 3 months before you said the process was yet to be concluded." That does sound like it has been concluded, to be honest. Now, this is what I mean. If Keir Starmer is trying to force Diane Abbott out of the party, I cannot help but say the word based. Are we at least in agreement there? That if he's trying to force her out because she's awful, incompetent, and a radical socialist, then that is better than nothing. It's better than the worst we expected. I don't know if that's the reason. It might not be. But if he can I don't know if it's right that he prevented her running as an MP. That might be wrong. But if he can make sure she has no more access to power than the people vote her, i.e. that she remains an MP but is never on the cabinet, that is good from Keir. A tiny bit of good in amongst probably a sea of bad, but this is my point. I want to find the little specks of good, because they'd be interesting. The only logical explanation is that you and your team have been lying to the British people. You have previously said that honesty and decency matter, she says. "I'm sure people would like to know why you did not think these principles mattered in this case." Or I think it was the Conservative minister that said that, actually. Jonathan Gullis, a deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, added, "Once again, this shows Sir Keir Starmer for what he is, a flip-flopper, a man who says one thing 1 minute and another thing the next. The public has to decide, can they really trust this man to lead the country? Well, do they really have a better option?" You're right, she does look like a London taxi. It goes to prove once again, he says, that he is under the control of his union baron boss buddies and the left of the Labour Party. Yeah, well, that's probably true. It just shows that the Labour Party hasn't changed. I think only Keir Starmer thinks Keir Starmer is ruthless. He has just proven that he is weak. Maybe. Miss Abbott, who in 1987 became the first black player, don't care about that. Sensation. Very wicked people involved in her case. Socialist campaign group. She's been treated in vindictive, factional, and cruel. The way she's been treated. So, again, like, the socialists of all stripes are coming out in defense of her, but the party structures are opposed to her. Have we finally got a slightly less socialist Labour Party? It would be better than a more socialist one, probably. Mayor of London Sadiq Khan told the Evening Standard that Miss Abbott was a trailblazer, and of course, Sadiq Khan is on her side, and Keir Starmer's not. This is what I mean, it's interesting. I'll support Starmer in that conflict, no problem. Mr. Khan added, someone who has done a huge amount for Hackney, for London. Oh yeah, I'm sure Hackney's a lovely place. Labour MP Jess Phillips said the party should allow Diane Abbott to stand as a candidate. There you go, Jess Phillips is on the wrong side of it as well. So, chat, if you have to take a side in the Civil War, we're siding with Keir, surely. Our man, Keir Starmer, yes, plant the Labour flag in the soil for this specific issue. I don't know. I'm trying to find something good about it, chat, because this is probably going to be our ruling party in a 2 months. Yeah, as Field says, yeah, let them fight. But at the same time, if one of them is going to be ruling us, I would have Keir over Dianne and Jess Abbott, not Jess Abbott, Jess Phillips' wing of the party, and they probably are as well. Do we know she's going to be the only sitting MP to be targeted? Apparently there are others as well. There was a tweet earlier that a bunch of Brown MPs apparently are being threatened or implied that they won't be able to run. Interesting. The Browns and Femoids have a bad political opinion. Imagine my shock. Many do, yes, many of them do. A spokesman for left-wing campaign group Momentum said, "We are sickened and disgusted by this news, etc., etc." I want to know if she's being blocked from running, or if the party can even do that. I want to find out about this. Hold on. Okay, so Dianne Abbott blocked. So she's been banned from standing for Labour at election. So she says that she has been. I can't help but say based. MP confirms she has been given back Labour whip but will not be allowed to stand as party's candidate. She is quite ugly, isn't she? Now, she looks like a Slitheen. Motch, you'll get that reference, right?
She does, and given what the Slitheen are a parody of, she may well legitimately be one.
Yeah. Chat, press 1 if she's most likely a Slitheen. Yeah, I'm not sure it's right that a party should be able to block an MP from standing. You can say that the party won't endorse them while standing, sure. But I don't think you should be able to block an MP from standing. However, if we assume that that is the policy, and if we assume it's okay, or if we work on the assumption that it's okay, then it couldn't have happened to a nicer person, you know? I could scarcely imagine an MP I would sooner advocate to be blocked from running, simply for my own, political preferences and my own preferences for who should be an MP. But she is probably the least worthy MP in the country. Second is Jess Phillips, because she's more intelligent but also evil. All right, let's continue reading. Dianne Abbott has confirmed she has been banned from standing as a Labour MP at the next election, bringing to an end a near 40-year career as one of the party's highest-profile politicians. The MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington, so both, issued a statement to broadcasters on Wednesday morning confirming. I bet Stoke Newington is like a lovely little rural village with like Tudor houses and a babbling brook and like narrow streets and a village of a small community where everyone knows each other, and they're all from families that have been there 1,000 years, and the crime is 0%, and like it's just like idyllic. I bet that's what Stoke Newington's right, right, and definitely not just another set of grey London tower blocks full of brown people. Anyway, handed back the Labour whip after a month long. I believe that what that means is that she's like allowed to be in the party still, or allowed to take part in the party, but obviously she's been banned from being an MP next time, so. But would not be allowed to stand again as a Labour candidate. The decision leaves Abbott, the first black woman to be elected to the British Parliament, which I don't care about. This is The Guardian, they do care about it. Likely to head out of Parliament, having sat as an MP since 1987. To be honest, maybe she shouldn't have been allowed to be an MP for that long. What do you think, chat? Do you think term limits for MPs as well? I'm not sure that's the right idea, but I would tend towards yes, it is the right idea, that you shouldn't be able to be an MP for more than a couple of terms. According to the BBC, Abbott said, "Although the whip has been restored, I am banned from standing as a Labour candidate." Separately, Abbott said on X she was dismayed that reports overnight suggested that she was being... Okay, here's what's going to happen. If Starmer has a good reason, and he hasn't said it yet, he probably isn't going to, which means that he's going to receive so much pressure, especially when it's so one-sided and most of the press will stand up for Abbott, so much pressure to restore her that he probably will. However, if this is not part of some grand scheme that's meant to mislead us or produce some other side effect, then what this is likely to be is Starmer trying to remove the socialists from the party. I don't know. I'm just saying. Sure, he could be a neolib. But as long as he's not a socialist, I would take a neoliberal over a socialist in terms of what is the actual better option, rather than just assuming that collapse is a good idea. If you assume that you need to teach the people a lesson, maybe socialism, but you've got to be careful, because if you go too socialist, then there's no people left to teach. So I don't know. Starmer might be actually trying to do a good thing here. If any of us were in his position, perhaps we would also have done this. Maybe he's not evil and stupid, maybe he's evil and slightly above average. Maybe, but if he was evil, surely he'd want... Maybe Abbott is actually not evil, she's just really stupid, and so she doesn't gel with his evil but not stupid balance? Maybe. But yeah, as of right now, it looks like Abbott is blocked, which I like as a move, seemingly from Starmer, even though he's not being particularly smart in how he's implementing it, and I don't think it'll last because there'll be so much pressure from the party. But to be honest, he might be able to weather that pressure just by how far he is ahead in the polls. So, if he can destroy Diane Abbott, at least he'll have achieved something good in politics.